Afternoon, everybody. Michael, good to see you. A couple of quick notes before I turn to your questions. First, a number of you have asked about reports of airstrikes in Idlib province, Syria, targeting al-Qaeda members. Now, I can confirm today that the United States conducted a series of precision airstrikes this week in northwestern Syria against al-Qaeda operatives, strikes that further weaken al-Qaeda's ability to threaten the United States. On Sunday, January 1st, U.S. forces struck 2 al-Qaeda vehicles that had departed a large headquarters near Sarmada, Syria. On Tuesday, January 3rd, U.S. forces struck the headquarters itself, targeting multiple vehicles and structures. Al-Qaeda's foreign terrorist fighter network used this headquarters as a gathering place, and their leaders directed terrorist operations out of this location. We continue to assess the results of these strikes, but our initial assessment is that the January 1st strike killed 5 al-Qaeda militants and destroyed 2 vehicles, and January 3rd strike killed more than 15 militants, destroyed 6 vehicles and 9 structures. Again, our assessment here is ongoing, but we are confident these strikes will degrade al-Qaeda's ability to direct operations in Syria and beyond. As you know, al-Qaeda remains committed to carrying out terrorist attacks against the United States, our interests, and our allies and friends. We will continue to take actions to deny any safe haven for al-Qaeda in Syria, and we will not allow al-Qaeda to grow its capacity to attack the United States or our allies around the world, and these strikes demonstrate that commitment. Second, I know you got an update yesterday from Colonel Dorian on progress in the counter-ISIL campaign, but even in the last 24 hours, we have again continued to see additional gains in both Iraq and Syria that I would like to detail briefly, if I could. In the campaign to liberate Mosul, Iraqi security forces have made progress both in liberating new neighborhoods and in clearing areas already liberated. They have further linked the various axes of advance into Mosul, which, as we've mentioned previously, makes the ISF's job easier and ISIL's job more difficult. Of course, the global coalition continues to support Iraqi forces with airstrikes, 8 in the last 24 hours in support of the Mosul operations, as well as assistance from the ground. Meanwhile, in Syria, Syrian Democratic forces continue to liberate territory on the way to Raqqa. SDF forces have now advanced to within 7.5 kilometers of Tabqa Dam and continue to make progress in clearing areas north and west of Raqqa. And in support of these operations, the coalition in the last 24 hours conducted 10 airstrikes, including strikes against both tactical units and the oil infrastructure that provides ISIL's shrinking financial support. Some operational deployments as well to update you on. Starting today and including tomorrow, ships and units from the Carl Vinson Strike Group will depart San Diego for a regularly scheduled deployment to the Western Pacific. The Nimitz-class aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson, Carrier Air Wing 2, and embarked destroyer Squadron 1 will deploy with Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser USS Lake Champlain and Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers USS Michael Murphy and USS Wayne E. Meyer. Homeported in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, Michael Murphy will join CVNSG later this month as the strike group makes its way to the Western Pacific. CVNSG will deploy with approximately 7,500 sailors and will focus on maritime security operations and theater security cooperation efforts. The strike group assets will conduct bilateral exercises in the Indo-Asia-Pacific region to include anti-submarine warfare, maneuvering drills, gunnery exercises, and visit board search and seizure subject matter expert exchanges. And separately, on the deployment front, the United States is demonstrating its continued commitment to collective security through a series of actions designed to reassure NATO allies and partners of America's dedication to enduring peace and stability in the region in light of the Russian intervention in Ukraine. Tanks, trucks, and other equipment are scheduled to arrive in Europe this weekend, beginning a 9-month rotation of U.S. Army forces supporting Operation Atlantic Resolve. The arrival of troops and equipment from 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division out of Fort Carson, Colorado, marks the beginning of the continuous presence of an ABCT and back-to-back rotations of U.S. troops and equipment in Europe. After the equipment arrives at Bremerhaven, Germany, it will move by rail, commercial line haul, and military convoy to Poland. The personnel and equipment will later be relocated throughout the region for training and exercises with European allies. This effort is part of our European Reassurance Initiative to maintain persistent rotational presence of air, land, and sea forces in Central and Eastern Europe.